Apologize for being tardy. It's a long walk. What's the time that thing?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to start with a very brief opening statement from Coach, and then we'll come around and take questions as we always do. Just raise your hand, and we'll call on you. Coach?
Excited about being 1-0. Looking forward to an opportunity to play Western Michigan and Coach Lance Taylor. I know those guys are going to be ready over there. A different opponent than last time. This is a mid-major opponent, and I know the success that I've had with my mid-major teams versus Power 5 teams, and we're definitely going to take that into consideration on how we approach this game. It's something that we take very seriously, and we know that they have a lot of good athletes, and they're more than capable of putting it on us. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
We'll go Emily, then Dan.
Just after getting to watch film from this past weekend, what would you say is the biggest thing that each side of the ball needs to improve on going into this weekend?
Well, I think as a team, obviously there are certain penalties that are acceptable and certain penalties that are not acceptable. And as a coaching staff, young men are allowed to make a mistake once, but if they make it twice, the coaches are responsible for that too. Outside of that, certain penalties, they're just hard to get away from. If guys are playing really hard and they're hitting somebody that's inbounds on the sideline and they give you a penalty, I don't know what to say. I mean, we had the situation about 2 years ago down at Florida State where we tried to escort the guy out of bounds and not hit him, and he goes up the sideline, they kick a field goal and win a game. That was really questionable. You had the Pitt quarterback that act like he went down one time and gets back up and scores a touchdown in the championship game. So the whole thing about safety is important, but there's an edge, there's a line that's gray, and I don't like that. But if the guys are hitting them inbounds, then we're just hoping that the officials will see it the right way and call it the right way. But sometimes those are a little iffy. But the ones that we can see for sure, you were right, Emily. I want to get that corrected. Okay?
Dan?
Coach, I'm looking at Jeremiah Wilson, Isaiah Johnson, Greg Delaney in this first game. Just what you've seen from the corners and what you took away when you went back and looked at the film.
I thought they competed extremely well. They played with a lot of confidence. You know, Isaiah being a captain, Jeremiah getting his pick, and of course he played some last year. And then even GD on his interception, getting his hands underneath that thing and making it a green light go, good call by the official. It was exciting to see those guys do that. They've been showing that in practice, but until you do it in a game, and they broke the ice, and now it's exciting to see if they can do it again.
Chris?
How did you come away thinking the offensive line played?
I think that they played well considering how many people were mixed up in different spots, and they have a lot of room to get better.
Do you still see guys competing for spots into this week?
Their spots still open. Their guys still competing, yes, sir.
Brent and Tommy?
Coach, is there anything the film showed you that you did not know about this team?
This team has a lot of fight. I mean, to take the challenge on of playing well offensively, defensively, regardless of what the score is, and then to have backups come in and on the defensive side as well play really good. There were some letdowns as far as turnovers with some of the backups on the offensive side of the ball, which was disappointing because ball security is important to us. But overall, once again, to be able to get a score like that and to get a shutout in the same game is really, really hard to do.
Coach, more specifically with the offensive line, Jacob Bradford filling in there, what did you take away from his performance from what you watched?
I think that for a first time, it's not his first time out, but he's been out there before. I thought he did okay, and he needs to do better.
And Joe Moore with his recovery, how's he doing?
I haven't had a chance to see him totally today, but we're hoping that he'll get back soon.
Kevin?
Donovan Brown earns one of the starting spots as a wide receiver. Gives you a pretty good game on Saturday. Just what does he bring that's a little different to the table, and what kind of role do you see him having in this offense?
When you talk about roles come about when you're consistently good, not occasionally great, somebody we can wind our clock by. Day in and day out, we know what you're going to do. Donovan had a good day out, which means we're not going to create a role for him, but within our offense, he will get other opportunities. And if he continues to show us that he can handle that, then you can start talking about a role. I've always been very high on Donovan. He's one of those practice players that have been able to do it on the practice field. and now we need to see him continuously do that in the game. On that note, before I forget, you kind of triggered something with me. We named MVP for offense for the game was LaQuinn Allen. He will get a game ball. The game ball on special teams went to Brady Denenberg, and the game ball for the defense went to Marlo Wax. Okay.
What did you see from Carlos in the second half?
I saw good stuff. I told him, when you look at the numbers, I thought he did some really good things. He had one play which I didn't think was all that great. He knows what play I'm talking about. But, you know, we tell the truth in our family. So, but outside of that, I thought he looked better.
What play was that?
He can tell you. I'm sure you're going to do interviews with him.
How much are you using last year's Louisville game with Lance Taylor to kind of prepare for Saturday?
I think that you have to look at that stuff. There's no doubt about it. But again, I think more than the X's and O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes. Good coaches do with what they adjust their offenses or adjust their defenses to what they have. So I consider him a good coach. So it's more important to look at Western Michigan's personnel to try to figure out who they want to get the ball to and how they're going to try to do that.
What do you need to see next week to feel comfortable about your team going into Purdue?
Well, you know, I would like to have a win. That would be great. And then see us clean up some of the mistakes that we made.
Stephon Thompson, Isaiah Jones, Terry Lockett, all of them played on Saturday coming back up from season-ending injuries. What's it like to...
Okay, so stop. Don't get mad at me, okay? Tell me you're not going to get mad.
No, I'm not going to get mad.
You got one of those voices that's kind of deep and it's... So just slow down a little bit because you put out a whole bunch of names on me. So slow down a little bit so I can go with you, okay?
Yes, Stephon Thompson, Isaiah Jones, and Terry Lockett all suffered season-ending injuries last year and then played on Saturday. I was just wondering what's it like to watch them as a coach play through that resilience and come back after, you know, a lot of hard work in the offseason.
Great question. I thought Isaiah did a really nice job. Obviously, I believe he had 2 touchdowns, one on the scramble and one on a good play. I saw Steph get out there and get physical on the edge. One time I saw the quarterback trying to break contain, and he was able to bring that guy back in. I don't think he got the sack, but I think he was in on something. I think a half a sack or something to that effect. And then it was good to see Lockett inside, banging around with the big guys. I think the more they're out there, the more comfortable they'll be. You know, they may be physically ready, but there's still a mental part of getting injured and going back out there. And once they get over that mental part, then there'll be nothing holding them back.
And does being a former player help you coach them through a big injury like that?
Being a former player that's been injured like that helps me coach those guys through that. Yes, sir. I would totally agree with that.
Emily, then Dan?
Trevor Pena was out completely on Saturday. Just curious what his status is heading into this weekend.
I would say doubtful.
Doubtful. Is that an upper body injury, lower body injury?
Don't want to tell the opponents.
You know, your connection obviously to Hawaii and to the Ohana that you talk about so highly. You have guys on the team, Austin Cowie and Kalen Ellis from Hawaii. Just your thoughts and if you've spoken with them and reflected on what's happened in Hawaii and if you have any message to the people on the island.
Well, the people on the island already heard my message. I've already been in contact with them over there, and they know how I feel about it. Yeah, I've talked to Austin. I've talked to Kalen. We all have the same love. And, you know, Lahaina is a special place. It's kind of a throwback with all the technology and all the things that go on. Maui's kind of your go back to the way Hawaii was back in the day island, and Lahaina definitely represents that on that side of Maui. So it was really a treasure that was lost. If you've never been there, you really missed out on something. And but they know how I feel.
You know, after the game, Derek Trader said that he, after he threw that interception in the end zone, that he wanted to stay in and wanted to make it clear that he wanted to keep playing and didn't want to end on that note. When do you listen to your players when they insist they want to stay in, and when do you kind of say, all right, no, your day's over?
You know, you build a trust. You're in a family. You're in a La Familia. And, you know, sometimes your kids say they want one more shot at it, and you give it to them. And sometimes your kids say they want one more shot, and you're going, there's no way you're getting another shot. You're done. And, you know, you just look at him and you go with your gut. My gut was he'd be okay, and he'd do it the right way, and I think he did.
Right.
Coach, zooming out a little bit. So when you took over, stood right there, and you asked for faith. Deion Sanders took a different tact. They had a little early success, and he's demanded it. If you were starting a program now with all the resources available to you, What approach would you take that would be different?
Different?
If any.
I think you can see that obviously Deion's approach was successful, and then what's Florida State's doing with name, image, and likeness has been successful. You look at those two things, I think they've both been successful.
When you left this Saturday, you mentioned there were some guys that showed you something. Who were one or two guys whose performance against Colgate really taught something you didn't know about?
I thought that David, I always mess up his last name. I know his father played here. I'm just going to say David, our right tackle. I thought he really, really played well. He really, really played well. Better than he had been practicing. So I was really excited about that. I thought that Umari played well. I thought that Donovan played well for the young wide receivers. And, OG was OG, Schrader was Schrader, LeQuint was LeQuint. Seeing the corners come out, the opposite side corners, opposite of our captain, Isaiah making plays was cool. I mean, again, I've been saying it, but the kicking game, you guys, for Brady you don't get a kickoff return in the dome. That's big. The last time we had a kickoff return was a bowl game versus Minnesota. It didn't work out our way. Okay, it might have cost us the game. But here you're in the dome and no one gets a return on us. And then our one punt for 49 yards, I believe. That was up there. I want him to hit that thing in the middle. I want to see what the call is. I want to see, what's the rule in the book? Let's come up. I want him to hit that doggone thing. So along with the linebackers, it was good to see Derek out there flying around. I want to say 15, right? Number 50. Just seeing him flying around and doing stuff. It was fun. They had fun. Now we got to go back to work.
Yeah, you mentioned Brady a couple of times. Was there anything specifically that really impressed you? I mean, aside from going 8 for 8 and hitting a 25-yard field goal.
Brady played quarterback, and he was the specialist at his high school. His mentality is a little bit different, and I think the team's picked up on it because nominating him as a captain as a sophomore is a big deal. That's a big deal. But again, like Brent said, they have a lot of faith in him, and I'm not sure they're wrong, because he competes the right way, and the way he goes about his work, he's really, really a mentally tough guy. So I'd say that.
Henry, how does Jack compare to other punters you've had in the past?
I think that he's right up there with the Nolan Coonies, who, congratulations to him, just made the Cardinals. I think they cut a guy that was like a 6-year vet or something like that. So hats off to him, along with who's our guy that's been kicking forever, still with the Giants, CBA?
Riley Dixon.
Riley, Mr. Dixon. I got a chance to see him. He was working with some of our specialists last year when Andre was here. And when Andre was going for his pro day, I think he was holding or something like that for him. So we've got a fine tradition of the specialists doing a nice job, and I just think that he's going to fall right in line with that.
I guess sticking with specialists and special teams play, that botched PAT, I'm just curious what you thought of Justin's kind of reaction there and what he was able to do to try and save that play.
Justin's reaction was true. Everybody else's reaction was not as fast as Justin. Justin reacted like a captain nominated by the team. I was proud of his reaction. Everybody else needs to get up to his speed.
Sticking with special teams, we've seen a lot of specialists on kick return and punt return be successful here. Just what you saw from DeMarcus Adams and just his wherewithal and the decisions he made.
I saw good and I saw bad, which normally happens with guys in their first opportunity in the dome in front of people. Now I need to see him be consistently good, not occasional.
Coach, you mentioned David coming out and showing you more in the game than in practice. When you see that from a player, what do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't like it. But I just know it does happen. When you've been in it for 39 years, there's guys, oh, Coach, I'm a game player, and like 99% of them aren't. No, you're not a game player. You're a bad practice player, and you're not a very good player in the game. But there are some cats that they turn a different switch. They just don't. They're on dim at practice, and then all of a sudden they flip the switch when they go into a game. But I'm not saying David played that good, but it was a drastic difference in the way he practiced. He definitely gamed up.
Right.
Maybe the results haven't shown yet, Coach, but do you agree with the idea of the new clock rule in college football?
if we want to shorten the game and get into a window so we can get more games, I get it. I understand, you know, the whole financial deal and, you know, whatever we need to do to keep everybody happy. I'll play along by the rules. Just tell me the rules. Did I answer it?
Now that it's officially official, do you have any comment on Stanford, Cal, and SMU joining the ACC?
Yeah, now that it's official, I think it's really cool that my mom, who doesn't fly, might get an opportunity to see me coach a game for Syracuse. That'd be awesome.
Which game would that be? Cal?
Any game in California she can get to.
Take home more, starting with Dan.
Coach LeQuint, just what you've seen from the day that he walked into Syracuse to who he is today on and off the field.
Locked in, focused. I mean, you're talking about a guy that loves Syracuse, and he goes out and he represents it the right way. I'm telling you, he's one of those guys. He's rare, as much as just the opposite. David in practice and LeQuint in practice, just the opposite. LeQuint, every practice is a game. Every practice. I've seen better moves and better runs in practices than you guys have ever seen of him in the game. And the last guy I remember like that was like Larry Fitzgerald. You would see Larry Fitzgerald catches in the game and you would go, that's amazing. And then the guys on the team would be like, you should have saw the one he had in practice. Every week you would see something that you'd never seen before. And you're like, oh my God, Larry Fitzgerald. So some guys can practice it and they can do it. Those are the ones I like the best because you know exactly what they're going to do. Consistently good.
Last question, we'll take from Chris.
So I'm fascinated by the fact that your mom hasn't watched you coach. What's your routine with her? I know she watches, right? So what's your routine with when you call her or when she calls you?
When I call her on Sundays, because I call her every Sunday, when I call her on Sundays, she tells me how the boys played. And I listen.
How close have you ever gotten to like getting her on the train or doing it that way, or does it matter?
My mama don't do that. She only rides in cars. She'll take a bus every blue moon, but she only rides in cars. In fact, the only game she's ever seen me coach in is when Eastern Illinois went and played San Diego State at San Diego State. That's the only time she's ever seen me coach as a head coach.
Thanks, everybody.
Mama don't fly. See you guys. Thank you.
I'll come around right now for